I'm Zoe. I've been a primate keeper for 2 years now. I started as work experience, then became cover, and now I work full-time. So here we have the Cotton-top Tamarins. We have mum Callie, dad Kit, and then we have the 2 babies called Rosa and Mira. They typically live around 20 years old in captivity, and the parents are about a couple of years old and the babies are only a couple of months old. So Cotton-top gestation is around 166 days, and then after they give birth, they typically will have the baby straight on the backs after that. Mainly dad takes on the responsibilities and mum helps out where needed. Mum does all the feeding as well. Then at a couple of months old, they slowly come off parents, almost like weaning them. They've got to be weaned off the back of the parents so they're self-independent. Currently ours are at that stage. They're completely off mum and dad now, eating by themselves, but parents still like to tuck them in bed around 4:30 in the evening, and then at 5 o'clock the parents will take themselves to bed afterwards. Cotton-top families always have twins. That is typical of Calitrichia species, which is a fancy term for tamarins and marmosets, their family group. Sometimes they can have more, that is unusual, but typically it's 2. These guys love to eat vegetables. In the wild they'll also have fruit. They enjoy flowers, especially in the summer. They're quite happy to eat the nectar from it. And they also have insects throughout the day. This could be locusts, Mario worms or mealworms. They get a selection and a varied diet every day, but sweet potato is everyone's favourite. The Cotton-top family is very playful. They're very curious. They love seeing people. They're quite happy to watch the public when they come and view with them. Very courageous and coming up to us. One baby's more shyer than the other, so it's quite easy to spot them apart because one always keeps a distance while the one is ready to come and say hello to everybody. The babies also have a fun little fact is that they wiggle their ears when they eat food as they move their jaw up and down to chew. Their ears will wiggle too at the same time. An interesting fact about Cotton-tops is that they can frown just like humans do. They will forward their eyebrows like this. I don't know any other species of tamarin at the moment that does that, so I think that's quite fascinating about them, and you can always tell when they're not happy with you because they'll let you know by their little frowns. The Cotton-top Tamarin has over 20 different calls. They have shrills, trills, cheeps, and even squeaks. And that is how we can tell how these animals are feeling based on what calls they send out, such as they have a specific call for when it's food time, when they're angry at us, when they feel threatened, and so forth. So these guys live in the rainforest of Colombia. They live in large forest areas with high up trees. They very rarely go down to the ground. So we mimic that by having lots of branches, lots of ropes, and also trees and various tall plants for them to replicate this natural behaviour of climbing through the trees in the wild. Cotton-top tamarins are a category 2 animal. That means we can go in with them to work. However, we choose to keep our distance from the animal in order to make them as wild as possible. We try not to have any human traits led onto them as it can cause behaviour problems. So we want them to be as natural and normal as we possibly can. So this means we don't do any jumping or anything like that. The Cotton-top Tamarin are a critically endangered species. These guys live in the jungles of Colombia, which means that deforestation is getting rid of their homes. They can't live in certain types of trees because of the shape and structure of them, so they are going further into the cities. When they go further into cities, they therefore are more likely to be picked up by the primates pet trade, which is illegal in this country. So we have these guys in the zoo to support and promote the Proyecto TT project, which is a charity in Colombia that helps these guys live in the wild. They plant trees, they help look after the area that they live in, and they protect a specific nature reserve for tamarins. They help raise money to increase a larger area of land for the animals to live and rescue any from the pet trade. The Cotton-top Tamarin are part of an European Endangered Species Programme. This means that we have breeding recommendations to make sure that genetics are matched up with good genetics, so it makes the population more healthy.